Yeah, so this past week has been kind of a week of her kind of backtracking on some of these major progressive liberal policies that she kind of touted during the 2019-2020 area when she was running against now President Joe Biden. Biden kind of cast himself as a centrist in the debates and on the campaign trail back then. She kind of was trying to run to the left of him. So a lot of these policies she embraced, like Medicare for All, Green New Deal, they were very liberal, kind of far out there policies for the party. And now that she's the presumptive nominee, she has to run in these centrist voters who voted for Biden because he was interested in have those ideas.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by economics reporter Zach Halaschak. Zach, catch us up with the latest with the Federal Reserve and interest rates.
So the Fed had another meeting, and once again now for a year, after I believe it's been the 8th meeting in a row, the Fed has held interest rates steady. So they haven't raised or lowered them for about a year now. And I would say that with the caveat that it appears like the next meeting, which is going to be in September, is going to be when they finally cut interest rates, which is a big deal because when rates are higher, as they are now, they're the highest they've been since, I believe, 2006. It makes things like taking out a loan, buying a car, buying a house far more expensive for consumers. So anytime rates start to move down, it's good news for consumers, and especially it kind of will be an interesting dynamic because it's an election year, so there'll be some of that involved as well. I'm sure you'll be hearing about it on the campaign trail.
Have there been any new developments with the child tax credit and the business tax bill?
Yeah, so this bill has been something that I think it was first unveiled in January, and so it's now 8 months after it was first unveiled. It came to a vote in the Senate. It originally had come to a vote in the House and passed overwhelmingly. It was bipartisan, so it was Senator Wyden, a Democrat, in the Senate who negotiated it with House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith, who's a Republican in the House side. And it came to a vote in the House and passed overwhelmingly. Only 70 House members out of the 435 actually voted against it. And so there was kind of thought that it would have an easy path through the Senate and then maybe be an easy legislative win for both Democrats and Republicans. But it really got held up in the Senate all this year. Senator Crapo, who's Wyden's counterpart, I feel like kind of felt left out of the negotiations. He didn't like some of the details of it and wanted to see it come through committee instead of getting a floor vote. And then this week, after all these delays, Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, put it out to a floor vote in the Senate, and it failed pretty overwhelmingly with all but 3 Republicans voting against it, even ones that probably would have voted for it in a different time period. So it looks like it's dead in the water for now, and Republicans and Democrats are going to have to wait until the new year when there's a new Senate and new Congress and see who's in the White House to see what comes next for tax policy.
So speaking of who might be in the White House, one of the big campaign themes since Kamala Harris has become the presumptive Democratic nominee is exactly how much of her 2019-2020 platform she's going to keep, particularly on economic policy, for 2024. What are some of the shifts that we've seen so far?
Yeah, so this past week has been kind of a week of her kind of backtracking on some of these major progressive liberal policies that she kind of touted during the 2019-2020 area when she was running against now President Joe Biden. Biden kind of cast himself as a centrist in the debates and on the campaign trail back then. She kind of was trying to run to the left of him. So a lot of these policies she embraced, like Medicare for All, Green New Deal, they were very liberal, kind of far out there policies for the party. And now that she's the presumptive nominee, she has to run in these centrist voters who voted for Biden because he was interested in have those ideas. So, for example, I think she raised her hand during the 2020 primary debates when they asked, would you get rid of private health insurance? Now she's saying you could keep your private health insurance. And then this week, I was talking to the campaign, and one of the policies was called a job guarantee that she endorsed as part of the Green New Deal. And it basically says that anyone in the U.S. who wants a job can have a job, a good-paying job. So something akin to almost like the New Deal, where your government's creating work for people and paying them money. Super expensive for the economy, all that. But her campaign said this week to me that she's backtracked and she no longer holds that view. So that's just another example. I think you might see a little more of this before it's all shaken out as reporters are kind of combing through her past policy positions and trying to get a read on where she's at, where her head's at now heading into the election.
Trying to make sure that one job, the presidency, is guaranteed.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you, Zach. You can read Zach and the rest of our policy team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.